Manipulation is like a shadow that follows us everywhere. You can't see it, but you can feel its presence. In today's episode, we are going to expose these hidden tactics of manipulation that we all encounter every day. These tactics are so discreetly woven into the fabric of our society that most of us remain oblivious to them. But once you realize what they are, there is no turning back. You will start seeing them everywhere. So get ready, because we are about to pull back the curtain and reveal the truth behind these tactics. Before we begin, please subscribe for more insightful psychology videos. 1. The door in the face technique. Have you ever been at a grocery store checkout counter and found yourself getting overwhelmed by the countless requests from the cashier? They ask you to donate to various causes or participate in loyalty programs, all while subtly influencing your decision-making process. It might seem like an innocent part of the daily routine, but it's actually a classic example of the door in the face technique, a powerful tactic of manipulation that has been used for decades by marketers and salespeople to persuade customers to agree to their demands. This technique is simple yet effective. First, the salesperson starts with an initial request that is too extreme or too expensive for the customer to agree to. This is the offer. Then they follow up with a second request that seems much smaller and more reasonable compared to the first one. For example, let's say you go to buy a car. The salesperson may start by showing you a car that is way out of your budget, hoping that you would just automatically say no. Once you do, they follow up by saying, "Well, how about this other car, which is much cheaper?" By comparing the second option to the first one, it seems much smaller and more reasonable. The same thing happens when the cashier asks you to donate to multiple causes. The initial request to donate to a charity is very high, and then they ask you to donate to a small organization that supports injured animals. The goal of this tactic is to make you feel like you are getting a good deal or doing something nice by agreeing to the second request, when in reality, the salesperson or the cashier is simply using your guilt or desire for a bargain to get you to agree to something they know you'll probably want. 2. The bandwagon effect. Picture this: you are starting a new hobby and join a beginner's class. There are only 2 other students in the class. One of them is quiet, but the other one is very talkative and friendly. Over time, this student starts suggesting places to eat, movies to watch, and even clothes to wear. You find yourself constantly agreeing to their suggestions, even though deep down you have different preferences. It might seem like a harmless friendship, but it is actually a prime example of the bandwagon effect, a psychological phenomenon where people are more likely to adopt the beliefs or behaviors of a group if they believe that those beliefs or behaviors are becoming increasingly popular. In this scenario, the talkative student is essentially using the bandwagon effect to influence your choices. They are creating the illusion that everyone else is doing what they are suggesting, which makes you feel like you should do it too. The fear of missing out or being left behind is too strong to resist. However, the truth is that their suggestions might not be as popular as they claim. The student may be exaggerating the number of people who share their opinions or the frequency of certain behaviors to manipulate you into conforming. This is a common tactic used by marketers who use phrases like limited edition or while supplies last to create a sense of urgency and push you to buy a product before it's too late. 3. Anchoring bias. Imagine you are at a used car dealership looking to buy your first car. The salesperson shows you a car that looks great and seems like a good deal. But when it comes time to negotiate the price, they throw you off guard with a starting price that is much higher than you expected. It might seem like an obvious tactic to turn you off, but it is actually an example of anchoring bias, a cognitive error where individuals rely too heavily on the first piece of information they receive when making decisions. In this case, the salesperson is using the anchoring bias to set an unrealistic expectation for the price of the car. They know that once you hear the initial price, you will use it as an anchor to evaluate the rest of the negotiation. Even if the final price is reasonable, it will seem much higher than the salesperson intended. 4. Scarcity principle. Let's say you are shopping for a new smartphone and come across 2 phones that have the same features and price. One of the phones is available in stores and online, while the other one is only available online. You choose the phone that is only available online because it feels exclusive and more desirable. You might think that you made a rational decision based on the phone's availability, but it was actually an example of the scarcity principle, a psychological bias where people place a higher value on things that are rare or hard to obtain. In this case, the phone that is only available online seems more exclusive and desirable, even though it has the same features and price as the other phone. The fact that it's scarce creates a sense of urgency and fear of missing out, which drives up your willingness to pay for it. Marketers use the scarcity principle all the time to create a sense of urgency and push you to buy a product before it's too late. For example, they might use phrases like limited stock or selling fast to make you feel like you need to buy the product right away. 5. Reciprocation of kindness. Picture this. You work in an office and your boss asks you to complete an urgent task outside of your job description. You might feel hesitant at first, but you agree to help them. Later that week, your boss asks you to do another favor, and then another one, and another one. It might seem like your boss is taking advantage of you, but it is actually an example of the reciprocation of kindness, a social norm where people feel obligated to return favors or acts of kindness. In this case, your boss is using the reciprocation of kindness to manipulate you into doing more work. They know that once you agree to the first request, you will feel obligated to agree to subsequent requests, no matter how unreasonable they are. For example, if your boss asks you to cover their shift, you might feel guilty if you refuse, even though you weren't scheduled to work that shift. The reciprocation of kindness is a powerful psychological tactic that can be used in many different ways. For example, a salesperson might offer you a free gift to create a sense of obligation and make you more likely to buy their product. Or, a friend might ask you for a small favor and then later ask you for something bigger. 6. The foot in the door technique. Imagine you are a shy person who wants to approach someone you find attractive at a party. You might be hesitant at first, but you take a deep breath and approach them and strike up a conversation. After a few minutes of chatting, you ask them for their phone number. It might seem like a simple interaction, but it was actually an example of the foot in the door technique, a persuasion technique where a small request is used as a stepping stone to a larger request. In this case, approaching the person and striking up a conversation was the small request that allowed you to build rapport and get closer to them. Asking for their phone number was the bigger request. The foot in the door technique is often used in sales where a salesperson might start by asking a customer for a small commitment, such as letting them look at a product and then use that to get them to commit to something bigger, such as buying the product. 7. Lowballing. Picture this. You have been planning to buy a new car for months and finally have saved enough money to afford the car you want. You go to the dealership and find the exact car you want. You start negotiating the price and eventually reach an agreement. Just as you are about to sign the papers, the salesperson tells you that they made a mistake and the car is actually more expensive than they originally told you. They apologize profusely and say that they can't sell it to you for the original price, but maybe they could offer you a discount on a different car. You are outraged and feel betrayed. You might think that the salesperson is just trying to scam you, but it is actually a tactic called lowballing, where a person lures you in with a low offer or price, only to change it later to something more expensive. Lowballing is a common tactic used by salespeople who know that their customers are willing to pay more than the sticker price. By offering a low initial price, they create a sense of excitement and eagerness in the customer, which makes it easier to get them to agree to the higher price later on. These hidden tactics of manipulation are everywhere, but now that you know what they are, you can start protecting yourself against them. Be aware of the tactics and don't let anyone fool you. Do you have any experiences with these tactics? Feel free to share your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button and share it with your friends and family. Don't forget to subscribe for more insightful psychology videos. Thanks for watching.